Okay, Jenna, let's go ahead and take a look. I've got the work up in a separate window so we can let me just get that. There we go. That's perfect. All right, let's go take a look. Well, first thing we're going to do is take a look and make sure all the requirements are met. So these are the requirements directly from the instructions page. So first thing is that the object must be dominant. Now, you're saying that the plants are your object, but right now the plants, even though they're the biggest element on the page, they're not necessarily the most dominant, because right now I think this image right here is giving the plants a little competition for first position in visual hierarchy. So you want the plants to be dominant. So think of what you could do to make the plants stand out more and the watering bottle to stand out less. Object must be shown with someone using it. Okay, now this is where this is going to get really tricky, because this is called design in everyday life, meaning that you're going to select an object that is basically designed. Now, it can be argued that a plant is designed by, I'm going to get a little philosophical here, by the creator of the universe, right? But is it a design object? Is it something, and this is going to get a little bit sticky. I'm okay if you stick with plants, but it's going to a little bit sticky in some of the requirements. And I'll get to that in 1 second. But you want to show somebody interacting with a plant. We don't have an image of somebody interacting with a plant here. So you have to include that. Must show an image of which is the result of using the object. So what is the result of using a plant? We have to show the result of using a plant. I don't know how you want to do that, but again, I mean, if it was a bicycle, you could show somebody riding it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a designed item. This is a natural item, an organic piece that grows in the earth. So again, you have to show an image of somebody, the result of somebody using the object. Must show, this again is where it's going to get sticky. You must show two components of, okay, what are the components of plants? I mean, you have leaves, you have roots, you have stems, and that's really it, right? I mean, I guess you have dirt, but how are you going to show components of a plant since it's not theoretically a designed element, okay? Now, if you can do this, stick with a plant. If not, you might consider changing your subject matter. It's up to you. Must show at least two components. Must include the headline, design in everyday life. You've got that, and I want to talk about that in a second. White background only, got that. Asymmetrical design, you've got that. 7 by 15, you've got that. Imagery must come in contact with the edge of the page at least twice. Here, here, here. Good, got that. Your design must combine images that are in boxes as part of a background and cropped individually with no backgrounds. So we've got that. Excellent. And when I say boxes, we mean frames. So something like that is considered to be a box, yes. Full color, keep your image down. You must use a grid. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Now, as far as the composition goes, I think we're a little cluttered up here. I think this is forced up in the corner by placing the plants right there. It definitely feels cluttered. It's visual. Well, it's called visual clutter, and it's actually a design term. It's not meant to be a derogatory term saying there are too many out. Well, it's not meant to be a derogatory term, but it is an industry-specific term that means there's too many visual elements converging in one specific area. And we see that right here. This design in everyday life looks like it's being forced up into the corner by the placement of the leaf. You want to give this a nice flow, a good natural setting, as opposed to being pushed up in the corner there. Watch your kerning. I mean, boy, wow, we spent 2 weeks on kerning, but we don't see any kerning here in your type. So you want to watch your kerning. In both the decorative type as well as that modern typeface that you're using. The everyday right now, I don't know, to me it would make sense to include a color sample from the object as opposed to one of the other supporting images. Does that make sense? Okay, typographically, I think, again, this is just forced into the edge here. So your type is all being controlled and dominated by your image. So your image is saying, okay, this little area over here is the area I have for the type. So I'm just going to force it right in there. It looks forced. It really does. This typographic color here is pretty heavy. I might even suggest a sans serif typeface here, because you're using serif here. Might as well add some typographic variety by adding some sans serif here. Watch your tracking. This is really a densely packed paragraph. The tracking is really, really tight. Actually, the leading could be increased as well. Let's open up and lighten up the typographic color of that typographic composition right there. Design in everyday life. It looks like you're really attempting to create an individual little typographic composition here, and it's a great start. But I don't think you're there yet. Really want to work on that. Make that as compelling, as engaging as possible. Captions. You've got your captions, but right now I think the captions are set in that copper plate, and that's an all cap. I don't recommend that. I recommend using maybe again a sans serif, or if you want to use a serif, that's fine. But I wouldn't use all cap, and I would definitely set the captions on an italic. Okay, so as far as, let me see, let's go back to those requirements. Okay, so you're showing sunlight, growth, and water. Now, I guess, are those components of the plan? I guess they could be considered components, but this, I'm not real sure is this what this image represents here. Okay, so you can see using an organic object here is going to create some inherent problems, because specifically in things like components and somebody interacting with it, the result of using, what's the result of using a plant? You see what I'm saying? Excuse me. At any rate, so those are my recommendations. Now, again, I just want to draw you over to the course announcements. These are really important, all four of these. From Welcome to Week 4 up, you definitely got to get in there and take a look at all four. There's a bunch of videos and all sorts of tips and tricks on how to create a compelling poster for this project, how to complete an assignment, 4 tips and tricks. These are all must view, so I definitely recommend you take a look at those so you can get some ideas. All right, so those are my recommendations moving forward. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. Okay, thank you very much.